excited. I didn't get that last part.
You were trying to get worker permits faster for migrants.
Okay, I'm not aware of the van conversation. The last I knew, the Florida governor stated they didn't need anyone and they were sending people out of Florida or sending people out of other locales. And so I'm not aware of that, and we'll look into it. Of my understanding, I know we are not doing anything as a city to send people via vans to Florida. So I'm not aware of it at all.
Is it concerning to you that if they're working down there won't be any protections?
I always want workers to have workers protection. We sent down a team to Florida to assist our fellow Americans, and I'm hoping that whomever is there helping is doing it with the proper workers protection that's needed.
Mr. Mayor, good morning.
What's up, Steve?
Good to see you. I wonder if you have any words for Trenton. There's a bill in Trenton that would stop the sharing of DMV information with states that have speed cameras, red light cameras. I know you're a big believer in speed cameras. What would be your words to Trenton and the lawmaker behind that bill?
Slow it down, like your driving should be slowed down. I spoke with the governor and we had a brief conversation. I'm going to sit down and speak with him about it. I mean, why would you have a bill like that? Speed cameras save lives. What we're trying to do around congestion pricing and other things. Sharing of information is important. I don't know why would someone create a bill like that. It makes no sense to me.
Follow up on a separate topic real quick.
Yeah, but I like Steve.
All right.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor. On 3K, I know there's been a bit of a back and forth with the chancellor, some critics who believe that you may be moving away from a universal approach on 3K. Can you commit that the previous trajectory will be followed to get to this universal approach on 3K?
No, we're not going to make any commitments other than we are going to continue to move towards having a universal pre-K. Here's the problem. What my analysis found in the first few months, we found that the number of seats that were allocated were not actually being filled. And so what I told the chancellor and his team, I need for us to really wrap our hands around to make sure we're actually placing children in seats, not just counting seats. We need to be counting, are the seats being filled? Once we get that complete analysis, we're going to ensure that we get as many parents as possible in 3K and pre-K. It's a great concept. It is going to assist us in getting our children early to receive the education they need, but it has to be done right. We can't just do things just to do them. It must be done right. These are taxpayers' dollars, and I want to make sure that we're spending these dollars accordingly.
Administration approaches correctly?
After our analysis, I'll be able to answer that.
Mr. Mayor, regarding the asylum seekers, what is the status of emergency relief centers, and what is the status of negotiations with non-relief?
The emergency centers. When we say the status of, what do you mean?
Have you identified any other locations?
The team is constantly pivoting, shifting, finding the locations to make sure that those who come in, we can do the proper analysis, 2 to 3 days, and then make the determination on what type of shelter or what type of assistance they need. Some people that are here actually want to go to other locations. And so by having as many relief centers as possible, based on our influx, we'll be able to make those determinations. Deputy Mayor William Isom and her team is doing a great job in analyzing, and as they see the need to open new spaces, we'll do so. You know what we're doing over at Orchard Beach? We're going to do the right analysis and determine if we're going to need more because of that. Last week, I think 2 days in a row, we had anywhere from 6 to 8 buses. Those are large numbers. And so we're going to continue to expand as the expansion is needed. But this is a perfect time to really state that I don't know if you have really picked up what's happening. The far right is doing the wrong thing. The far left is doing nothing. I mean, the silence, I don't believe the silence that I'm hearing. These are people in need of services. And I am not hearing from the two ends of the spectrum. Far right is doing what's wrong, far left is doing nothing at all. It is time for us to address this in a unified way. And that's what we're doing, this administration is doing, and we should not be doing it alone.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's your reaction to the problem that we've been hearing from asylum seekers in several homeless hotels and also at several food pantries? We say they don't have enough food in the system, especially for their babies and toddlers, children who are not old enough to eat, sandwiches and the kind of food that they serve in these hotels. Some of them are telling us they feel very desperate. They have no means to support themselves because they are not getting any public assistance. We know it's important to you to run a humane city, but your administration's press statements in response to our reporting have not really reflected concern about this or acknowledged the problem. So I want to ask you personally, what do you plan to do about this urgent problem?
Well, first, we have not heard those reports. We are fulfilling every standard in the area of making sure that people are fed, that making sure, particularly our children, are receiving the nutrition that they deserve. And so we have not heard those reports. And if there are specific areas that are not fulfilling their responsibilities, we need to know about it because we're going to get in there and make sure it's done. I am not aware of that.
Let me just follow up. I sent some information to the Department of Social Services last week with specifics. So are you saying you're not aware of them now after we've sent the information and reported on it, that they've checked into it and it's still not the case? Or are you saying you haven't heard about it but it will change?
Well, if you send specific information to, okay, and then I will speak with them and find out exactly what we're doing about it. I don't want us to underestimate the unprecedented influx. To get 400 people come to our shelter system or come here from outside the city needing shelter back-to-back days, that flow is beyond our imagination as a city. And what the agencies involved have been doing is actually, while dealing with the crisis, managing the crisis, making sure that we are giving people the dignity they deserve. And if you gave the team some specific issues, I'm going to speak with them this afternoon and find out what is our response. Because we want you to point out if there are gaps or cracks in the system so we can correct them. That's the role. Your role is to bring it to my attention. My role is to make sure that is corrected.
Good morning, Mayor. What is the city's protocol for screening and for safety for these migrants coming into the city here? And also, the residents of the Bronx and places like that, the rest of the areas, are concerned with their safety. What is the city doing about this?
What was the first part? Your first question?
Oh, yes. What is the city doing about the safety protocol and screening protocol for the migrants? And also, what about the residents of the Bronx? What are you doing for safety and security for them?
Same safety. We don't do any screening other than finding out the needs of people and make sure that we properly give them the resources that they need. And we're going to provide the public safety. That's my responsibility. My responsibility through the police commissioner, the police department, all of our law enforcement entities is to make sure that the communities where we have any shelter, migrants or not, that is safe. And we're going to continue to do that.
Your office.
Chef.
How you doing? Your office released the salary of Tim Pearson this past week, and I know we've talked about this before, the original story, but how does it not look like to New Yorkers that you're using your official position to benefit a friend here by creating some loopholes and paying him handsomely?
Well, I'm not sure if you recall that the same position that Tim is doing is the position that Chief Monahan is doing. Are you aware of that? Okay, look that up. Same thing. The skill set of a former executive law enforcement officer during these unprecedented times of navigating all of these pieces is important. I thought Bill de Blasio was smart for bringing in Monahan during that time, and I believe I'm smart for bringing in Tim Pearson to do the same thing. And so it's not using my position as the mayor to help anyone. It's to help New Yorkers. Putting together a team that's going to help New Yorkers during these multiple crises at one time. And so I know Tim's capabilities, Tim Pearson's capabilities, and just as the mayor de Blasio understood the capabilities of Chief Monahan, I understand the capabilities of Tim Pearson.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, what is the status of your negotiation with the cruise lines? And also, what are your concerns with Orchard Beach, given that there has been flooding up there with the recent rain?
When we get in agreement with anyone on dealing with all of these issues around the migrant issues, we're going to make it formal. We're in conversations. We're going to continue to look under look at every opportunity to resolve this humanitarian crisis that human beings have created. And we're not at a place to make any announcements, but when we are going to make sure that we give a formal announcement before we do anything, and that's what the negotiation is at this time.
Orchard Beach regarding the flooding.
I like Julian also. I'm sorry.
Okay, and I like you. Regarding the flooding at Orchard Beach, there had been flooding up there given the recent rain.
Yeah, the puddling that took place, the team went up there, Commissioner Isco went up there, he did a real analysis of what we have to do, because we want to get it right. And we are not going to be afraid to try different things to solve these unprecedented problems that we're facing in the city. And he went up, he did an analysis of the puddling and see what needs to be done, how we must adjust. One of the most important terms is pivot and shift. And we're going to pivot and shift to solve these problems. There's not a one-size-fits-all on problems that we've never faced before. You have to be bold enough to try. And I keep saying over and over again, I'm the man in the arena, so I'm going to keep trying.
There, or would you reduce it or change
It's going to be nice to you.
There's others I'm going to give you a nod and tell them, make it hard.
So would you reduce the
I'm sorry?
Would you reduce the amount of people in that location necessarily if that's going to be a chronic issue?
We made it clear that we will always ensure safety. Safety is paramount. That's important, and we're going to continue to shift and pivot. We're not at the place of saying we're going to reduce or not reduce. We're going to make sure people are safe. We're going to make sure we provide the services, and if need be, we'll pivot and shift as needed. And we're not at that place right now.
Two more, Dana, and then Chris. They got to
Okay, we give you that look now.
How would you describe Tim's responsibilities, his brief, and why did it make sense to give him the second highest salary at EDC even as he was working at Resorts World?
No, as I stated when Jeff asked, we did the same thing and followed the same model that the former mayor followed. Same thing, followed the same model. I thought Bill de Blasio was brilliant for creating and having that position, and I think it was the right thing to do. Same thing, same model that Bill de Blasio did, former mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We reported today that Deputy Mayor Phil Banks has a NYPD security detail. This is rather unusual for someone in that municipal government position. Why does he have a security detail?
Okay, he doesn't have a security detail. Phil doesn't need security. And I think that if you look at the uniqueness of a deputy mayor of public safety, and how we created that position. Phil is out late at night, responding to scenes, subways, 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, doing something that other deputy mayors don't do. The role he's playing that I need him to play is extremely unique. It was never in government before. of combining all of my law enforcement efforts together across the city and how he's carrying that out. And when he sends his driver to the scene to find out what's going on ahead of time, a civilian would not be able to carry out that same function, would not be able to get inside that crime scene, would not be able to get on the ground, would not be able to carry out the same function. There's a uniqueness to law enforcement that if you've never been in it, you won't really understand it. And if you send a civilian to a scene of an emergency, a major fire, a crime, a shooting, a possible bomb, I have to get that information right away, and the Deputy Mayor of Public Safety must get it right away, and a civilian is not going to be able to penetrate those things the way a law enforcement person could do so. So this is a unique role that he's doing, and it's a smart way that we sat down and stated how he's going to do it, and I'm very pleased on what he's doing.
Did the Intelligence Bureau give the go-ahead on that? The NYPD's Intelligence Bureau?
Appreciate it.
I am the Intelligence Bureau. I decide what I need in my agencies to get the job done. I sit down with all of my agencies and make a determination what tools we need. Everyone falls under the team concept. And if you would speak to Intel would tell you that we advise the mayor, but the mayor makes a determination on what we're going to do to properly keep this city safe. I'm obligated to do so. And I'm sure they will agree that having a well-trained police officer be on the front line of responding to these issues is a smart way to do it, and it's a unique way to do it. Thank you.